All right. We're alive.
Mitchell!
Look at that. We already have people on. Look at this.
No. Well,
This
I'm a
is
big
good.
draw, Mitchell. I'm a big because they think I'm giving drinks out. So they think Wayne's handing out drinks in the morning, so they all show up. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Delray.
What's going
on?
Welcome to Delray Beach Politics. Coffee.
Coffee. I swear there's coffee in here.
Live.
Super coffee. So, Mitch, I'm glad you invited me.
This is coffee here, but it says a whiskey well earned. It says whiskey, but it's really coffee.
You sure? Because yesterday was National Whiskey Day.
But it was also Passover now, so I can't have whiskey because it's got.
You can't have whiskey because it's Passover?
Yeah, I know.
How unspiritual does that sound? That's I think about switching clubs or something, Mitchell. I don't know. You can't have whiskey? Us other people, we can drink whatever, whenever. I'm just saying. Unless we give it up for Lent. Yeah, right. Anyway, thanks for having me on. I think it's awesome. I love hanging out with you bright and early in the morning. What's going on? Was there an election?
There was an election. I'm glad you asked.
How'd the election go?
Well, for some people, it went really well.
Oh, did it?
Well, yeah, 3 people went really well. 3 people, including myself.
Yeah.
Not so well.
Yeah, I didn't run. So.
Oh, you had no idea.
Yeah.
No clue. Hence why we're back to this show, and we've expanded. So just to give everybody an idea, we have changed a little bit the format of this show. We were doing it kind of weekly. I think that's a lot. So this show is going to be, we're going to try once a month, but we can, we might throw in some special editions here and there.
If something big happens.
And it's no longer just with Mitch Katz. It's now with Mitch and.
My name is Wayne. Concerned citizen.
Wayne is a concerned citizen, a local legend, a real estate agent. Nobody knows him as anything but a real estate agent, right?
Yeah. Nobody's ever come to my bar. No, not at all. Mitch, I think something interesting. The reason why I look forward to doing this is especially the election that we just had. There was so much crap out there. And I don't care whose side you're on, someone needs to filter out that crap. I used to get so frustrated every day. I would bring my wagon down to the mailbox so I can put in 1,000 postcards. Yeah, those things. Mitchell, tell me real quick. Here's a question everybody wants to know, Mitchell. How much do those things cost, for God's sakes?
That is a good question. Here's one here. Here's one here. This is great.
Have you picked specific ones to pull up? Asking for a friend.
I have a question. So see this right here? Is it okay now? I never actually stopped drinking the water, but is it okay now to continue drinking the water? Because I kept getting these mailers telling me my water's unsafe, yet the water's, I know that for a fact the water's tested every day, so I've been drinking it. I haven't stopped. But,
so you're saying it's safe to drink. It's in your coffee.
It's in my coffee. So what's funny is, but it's not even this mailer and this mailer and this mailer and this mailer and this mailer, and I can't keep going, right? None of them came from Delray. They came from a political action committee called Progress for Delray Beach in St. Petersburg, Florida. Why would St. Petersburg daughter care about Progress for Delray Beach?
Well, because we're on the other coast and they want a place to come visit. I don't know. That's a great question, Mitch. Mitch, tell me. So back to my original question.
You asked me what it cost. So
how much?
So usually when you're going through campaign consultants, number one, it's going through more. So I ran a very streamlined campaign. I didn't have a consultant. I didn't have a manager. I did everything myself. I hired a graphic artist to help me do the things. I paid the graphic artist, and then I paid postage and printing, right? But if you go through a consultant, they beef up the charges a little bit. That's where the consultants really kind of make their money. So each one of these mailers probably costs between $8,000 and $12,000 a piece to mail.
So each one bulk $12,000.
Yeah, if you look on my campaign report, because it's public record, you can see that I spent around $4,000 each mailer. Okay. But again, I'm not paying a consultant to do it. I'm doing it myself. I'm using, help. So it's going to be a lot less money. But each one of these are going through consultants and they're going through, people making money. It's going to be a little bit more. And I think it also depends on the universe they're sending it to, right? So
targeted, do they target it a certain way?
So everybody targets it. You want to try to get the people that you think are going to vote. This was really hard this year because we had a lot of absentee ballots sent to people that normally don't request them because of the last election, the November election. You had, when you signed up, you could have said, I want until 2022. So any election in between, you're going to get a ballot. So a lot of people got ballots, actually thousands upon thousands of people got ballots in Delray this year that didn't even mail them in because they just don't even know what the local election is about. And then some just bubbled names and sent them in, right?
One of my other questions, because I've got lots of questions, like you said, people that don't know there's an election. To me, the local election is so much more important than the national election. You get all this rhetoric, the national election, which I think has kind of, it's starting to drip down to our little town. It was like a backyard fight out there with all these with you candidates. Not everybody. Like some people were more gentle than others, and some people were, had their claws out. But it's just like, to me, you get informed and you learn about your local election because what they do up there, up in DC. I've watched people from behind City Oysters Bar for 20 years. How many administrations have I seen? And nobody's life changes that much, and they get but our lives change when an iPick gets put up there, when a Delray Marketplace gets put up there. That's going to affect all our lives immediately. Like as we're driving down the road and it took us 20 minutes to get through this intersection, that goes directly back to the last election because we voted for this person who voted for that, who thought it was okay to put this big building on this corner or whatever. So it affects us on a daily basis. But yet nobody knows, there's an election. Oh, wow, that's weird. Who's running? I had more people call me and say, what's going on with the election? Who's this? And important people, what's going on? And without telling anybody who to vote, I basically said, well, here are the sides, because it was a pretty, there was sides, which is something I want to get into. I was going to get into it down the road. But I do want to get into it because I thought it was weird that there were sides, that there was Team Delray and Team Developer, or are we that like lack of attention that we just got to vote for one team or another? And correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't it awesome to have 5 independent thinkers? You know what I mean? That aren't part of a team.
I don't think so. I get you, and I'll disagree a little bit. So I think that there definitely were sides, okay? But I think it has to do with people's what they like, what they want to see, how they want to see our town, right? Now, obviously, the finances drove a lot of those teams, and you can see that, so for example, the developers, special interests, they poured hundreds, not thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars into this campaign. And I think while you can say the candidates chose teams, I think the special interests kind of chose teams because when you look at the campaign contributions, the majority, and not all, the majority, I took some money from developers and I raised not a lot of money total. Shelley Petrolia took some money from developers. I don't know if Price Patent did. I didn't look that closely at his account. But the 3 of the candidates took tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars through their PACs from the developers and special. I say developers, but it's really developers and special interests. And that's where the teams kind of cross, because now you have the same people getting paid. Like, give an example. You had person out there. I don't want to call people out by name. So, you had somebody that was supposed to be somebody's campaign manager. They're being paid for some PAC out of St. Petersburg, right? And they're campaigning for 1, 2, 3 candidates, right? Or somebody's knocking on your door. Or, really interesting is, we talked about the water for a minute, right? There's a local elected official. He's on our soil or water board for the county, right? He started writing op-eds about how bad the water is, right? And it made sense. Like, there are PFAs on there, and he kept pointing it not to the entire commission, because that's the way it should be, right? He kept pointing it towards the mayor. And then a month later, right, the Tracy Caruso files to run, and what is her number one and every one of these mailings about? It's about what?
The water.
Well, I was like 99% of the rhetoric was about water. And then if you look into some PAC's money, he owns a company here in Delray that got paid $10,000 from a PAC. Now, I don't know what he got paid for. Now, his job, it says canvassing, right? Now, this is a PAC that was supported by the same people that were sending out these mailers and that were supporting Tracy Caruso. Yet when somebody from his company knocked on a door and they said, I'm here to campaign for somebody, they said they were supporting Ryan Bolson and Adam Frankel. They didn't even mention her name. So what was that $10,000 for? Was that really for canvassing, or was that for op-eds? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's for the public to decide.
And we still don't know why. Like you said, I thought the question, St. Petersburg, what do they care? Why would tell me? The job doesn't pay very well. You do it. You do it for the love of the town. That's why I would do it. I believe that's why you would do it. I know when Bill was a commissioner, I used to follow him, and it was like, that dude loves the town, and that's kind of who you want. And I believe Shelley loves the town, and I don't know Tracy very well, but it seems like not a lot of money for a pretty hard job. Why raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for a $14,000 a year job, soon to be more money? Because
possibly, yeah. And so that's funny. That was a big campaign issue too. Was about the money. I will say that it's supposed to go into effect April 1st. I know Commissioner Casal brought up maybe they should reverse that. Now they've gone through the election, because they did it where they gave the option now to keep it or not. So I don't know if that's going to stay or not. But as of now, yes, they will make a little bit more money. Which, to me, honestly, I think they should get paid. I'm not.
I agree.
I think they deserve more than $9,000 a year to be a commissioner, or $11,000 to be mayor. But I get why they might be hesitant and wanting.
And the optics look awful. We're going through COVID. The optics look, but sometimes people just take the optics and run with it. And sometimes I always ask people, just dig down a little bit instead of just going, that's what it looks like. How about pick up a paper and see how much the Boca commissioners make and how much the Boynton commissioners make? And if they made $9,000, then wave your flag and go, well, it's good enough for them. Why isn't it good enough for you? But those guys make exponentially more than our town makes. Am I correct?
Absolutely. So even with these so-called big raises, our commissioners will still make less than Boynton and Boca. And they not only make salaries, I'm not sure about Boynton, but I know Boca, they even get pension. For being a commissioner.
Well, and quite honestly, with no disrespect, I think our town's better. And you kind of get what you pay for. We all believe in this market kind of thing. You get what you pay for kind of thing. And, I was thinking the other day, our town, I've sat at that bar at City Oyster for 1,000 years, and I have met so many important people. There are so many brilliant, smart people in this town. And we should all be interested in what goes on with our town. We've got a special group of, we have Hall of Fame golfers. We have economists. We have people that have been big shots all around the world. And we also have just smart people who love our town. And man, we should all be involved. But if you're going to pay someone $9,000 a year to to run a government, then you might not get the best qualified customers or clients or commissioners. So like I said, I think the optics were bad, but do a little investigation before you start throwing stones. And I think it's pretty obvious that I think you guys, or they, deserve more. Especially now the way it's getting. Holy mackerel!
Well, a lot of work too. The hours they put in.
It's almost like it's kind of a full-time job. Is it not?
It's a full-time job. Well, you still have to have a full-time job on top of it to support your family if you're retired or you don't have to work. So yeah, it's absolutely.
Can you tend bar and be a commissioner? Asking for a friend. Asking for a friend.
Sure.
Okay. Just checking because I know a guy. But
so I want to share the results because we already said we're going to talk about the election, which we are. But I think the results are important. So let me try this.
Are you going to show us the results?
We're using new software here for the first time.
Are you going to show us the results?
And we're going to see the results. See how great
Did you black out your vote? Did you black out your numbers? No, you're putting your numbers up. God, I love it.
I did. So here's the results.
Oh,
so it's interesting. You said there were teams, right? Well,
yes.
What did the voters say?
The
voters said we're not playing this team game.
One team won 2, one team won 1.
Right, but they didn't vote along the so-called team.
Right.
So while a lot of supporters and vocal supporters, especially in social media, pick teams, the average voters just went with the incumbents.
And I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome.
Well, I don't think it's awesome.
well, no, I don't. Obviously, but I think it's awesome that they. Mitchell, I want the commissioners to think of me, not their team, or not to the money that was donated, and this person gave me this. I think the commissioner should listen to their constituency and vote accordingly. And I guess that's what you guys try to do. But, how hard is it? You tell me, how hard is it to do? You've been a commissioner before. How hard is it to do when somebody gives you $10,000 and then, 8 months later, we're voting for an iPick? And how hard is it to go?
I will tell you, nobody ever gave me $10,000. I wouldn't have taken $10,000 from anybody.
You know what I mean?
But I absolutely, I don't think it shouldn't matter. It should not matter because even if it's $5 to a campaign, $10,000 to a campaign, people should be making decisions based on what's best for the town. And I think for the most part that happens, but occasionally it's like, they know that is what they're. So in other words, if I'm a developer and I'm going to invest in a commissioner, it's like going to.
That sounds horrible, by the way.
Well, you're spending tens of thousands of dollars on a candidate.
You want ROI.
You want ROI. So now, are you guaranteed ROI? Absolutely not.
Right.
You're not. But you're going to hedge your bets on who you think is going to be more favorable to what you want. Right. So let's just look at the results real quick, because you can see that the mayoral race was really close. There's like 500 vote difference there. It's 3%. Then Adam and Price's race and Ryan and my race is definitely a lot more. This one was 8 points, it looks like, right? Or almost 10 points, and more like 20 points between me and Ryan. And now if you compare it to something else, which is the dollars.
That was going to be my next question. That was going to be my next question.
So now this doesn't take into effect the PAC. So remember, Shelley, myself, and Price had no PACs. Right? There was no PACs out there supporting us. So the money that's on the city's website that we raised is the money we raised.
Gotcha.
Tracy, we don't even know because, like I said, this progress for Delray, all these mailers. See all these mail? Like all this mail?
I got them.
There is no reporting, even though they're required to by law. Nobody has reported on how much money that was taken in, what it costs to spend. It's not been reported. They're basically just shunning the law, and they don't care. But as far as dollars in the campaign to the city reported, Tracy raised $212,000 compared to $138,000. Which is almost 100,000 more. And then both of them, I think, put in about 50,000 in loans, which Tracy mostly spent. Shelly did not. So Shelly can actually take her loan back. So she really raised around $88,000, less than $100,000 for her raise. Adam raised $72,440, while Price raised $51,000, and he gave himself a $20,000 loan. So he really raised about $30,000 from contributions. Adam raised that total $72,000 without any loans. In Ryan's race, Ryan raised $79,600, which is basically $80,000, right? He gave himself a $10,000 loan, which if he didn't spend, he can take that back. And I raised $27,000, and I did give myself a big $500 loan. So I was outspent by almost over 2 to 1, almost 3 to 1, but I didn't lose by that margin, right? I lost by, a couple thousand votes, but not that 1/3, right?
Kind of got your butt kicked.
What's that?
Nothing. Nothing.
Did you say I got my butt kicked? I did get my butt kicked. But a lot comes down to this, which is the money.
Right.
Because you've got to be able to get your message out, especially when it came to, I'm going to stop screening the results. I don't need to look at that anymore.
Speaking of message, is that what happened? Did we get our message out, or did we just, I used to scour those things looking for a platform. Tell me what you think. And it frustrated me because it was that person sucks, not this is my vision for what I want Delray.
Well, what's interesting is so I got mail. Basically, if I didn't know better, I read the mail, I would think that Ryan Wilson was a lifelong Democrat. Right? It was a mail implying that all blue and I support, liberal values and I'm endorsed by all these Democrats, right? And even the word Democrat on there. Yet, anytime he spoke at a event, I'm a independent. I've always been an independent, which turns out was a lie. When he first registered to vote in college, he registered as a Republican. But
we all do a lot of things in college that we regret.
But at least be honest about it.
Right.
My thing is, I don't mind people make bad decisions. It's like his ethics stuff. Just be honest about it. Let's just once
you
in
can
a
make
while
mistakes
for elected officials to be honest. And who says it was a mistake? He could have been a Republican.
Right. Oh yeah, I don't mean that.
Whatever, not a bad. I know a lot of good Republicans. I know a lot of people I like that are registered Republicans that are good friends. That's not always a bad thing. But just be honest about it. But so I got these mailers. My guessing is a lot of Democrats who live in the city that don't know anything about politics got the same mailers that I couldn't afford to necessarily get that same message to say, hey, he's not a Democrat.
Right.
I'm the Democrat. I was endorsed by the Palm Beach County Democratic Party because I was the only Democrat in the race, right? And I know there's a lot of discussion on it's a nonpartisan race, right?
Well, and that was kind of going to be my question, but I know it's a pretty deep rabbit hole. But I don't understand. Like, to me, local politics aren't party. To me, it's vision because Republican, Democrat, it's big government versus small government versus this versus that, and even that's kind of gotten a whole lot grayer than it used to be nowadays. But to me, local politics is just you live here, you love it, and you do what's best to make it grow or not grow in a healthy way. So we can continue living in paradise because as big as it's gotten, it's still one of the most wonderful places in the world to live. I can't compare it with, the only bad thing is the secret's out. Now we have to share it with a gabillion more people, and that's going to happen. Tell me where that hasn't happened. But I don't get the partisan. But we were talking the other day, and you were saying, it can kind of, and I think the Ryan situation, I think that's an interesting, way to say it. How he said it's Democrat. Go ahead.
Yeah, and there's a couple reasons why it comes into play. First of all, I will tell you, when I ran before, and I ran, now this will be 3 times, 1 for 3, right? I mean, if you're
Get you in the Hall of Fame in baseball.
baseball gets you in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Batting percentage, right? But anyway, I had no partisan involvement in my even, and I could have last time because I was again running against an independent registered Democrat. I didn't feel it was appropriate, which I think was a mistake because after I lost my election, there was a state house race. Mike Caruso ran against Jim Fonfiglio. Ryan came out, endorsed and supported Mike, and Mike won by like 32 votes. I think it was 32, like 30 votes. So Ryan obviously can influence people. He's a sitting commissioner, right? Very popular. You're telling me he didn't influence possibly 30 people that could have swung that election either way.
Yeah.
And when that affects things like, yesterday that the Florida House voted on HB1, which is to limit people's ability to protest, right? It was really aimed at minority communities. This was voted by Mike Caruso in the affirmative. So that's why it has bigger effects. So while in the past, and I will tell you, so the first election, I've never seen a local party, financially get involved in a campaign until 2 years ago. And that was actually Bill Batters. The Palm Beach County Republican Party donated thousands of dollars to Bill's campaign. And I had never seen that from talking to people that have been here their whole lives. Nobody had ever seen that in Delray Beach politics. So if you want to know where the first time a local political party has superly got involved in the local Delray Beach elections, it was not this election. It was 2 years ago. And it was Bill Bathurst. Democratic Party didn't get involved in that race at all.
Now, is that just to get an R next to Bill's name on the ballot?
There's no R's. No, it's to be able to get these mailers out.
Okay.
But
I mean, that's...
They donated, I think it was, I'm guessing now, but around $6,000 they donated. And they even made one. So the max contribution you can get is $1,000. I mean, it came to the point where I was doing research. Like, I didn't know you could give more than $1,000 because that was the cap. If I get a contribution to my campaign from a PAC, from a whoever, it's $1,000 maximum. Then all of a sudden you see these big checks in there from the Republican Party, and it turns out there's no limits. If a party wants to donate to even a nonpartisan race, they can donate $100,000. There's no limits at all. So that was the first time a party kind of got involved. And I think the Democratic Party said this time, hey, we've got to start, if there are Democrats running against non-Democrats, we're going to get involved in the race. Now, they didn't get involved financially in these races, right? At all. But they did support, through endorsements and volunteers and things like that to two of the candidates that they could. That was Shelley, who's the only Democrat in that race, and myself. And they did support us. Now, and I took the support.
Now, can you win without taking that money, Mitch? You know what I mean? I mean, obviously you just put the stats up and but like you said, you got to get your message out. Can you win? Like I love this town. Maybe one day I'd like to be a commissioner, but I don't want to take a bunch of money. But I don't want to do that because then I feel like I owe somebody something, and that
you can bankroll it yourself.
Well, that's a lot of tips, a lot of real estate commissions. Living on the Ave it's not inexpensive. It's too bad. I don't know about you, but obviously you have a different opinion, but like it depressed me when I pulled out the mail and I saw just the rhetoric, and just the nastiness. I mean, there was just so much nastiness. I was ashamed that my town was being was acting like that, and it just I don't know. It made me sad, and I don't know. It just can you go backwards? Can you stop? Can you it's too bad that it got that. Like, those mailers were just and it was just everybody, and it was just I mean, they literally, somebody photoshopped a Trump hat on Shelley. I'm not picking a side here. That's crazy.
Right. A Democrat.
I mean, that's insane to do that, to be able to Photoshop. You know how many people looked at that and thought that Shelley had a Trump hat on? And I don't care what kind of hat she wears, but it's just not true. I don't know. It depresses you, and I'm here to say it makes you want to move. This is just getting too ugly, kind of thing. And I don't know.
That's just I see a comment from Richard about the party. So that's, again, I told you Tracy raised $212,000. When you dig into that, these were most of that money, the majority, came from political action committees, not from residents, not from local businesses, but political action committees that are controlled by the Florida Republican Party. The Republican Party has made this local, and they've not just done it here. So what they did was the Republican Party decided a while back, and they really now in locally trying to make it stronger, is that they want to control all the state houses. They want to control the state senates. They want to control the governor's mansions, right? Because that's where all the big decisions kind of are made, right? And they figured out to do that, we're going to start local. And they are investing a ton of money locally so they can do that. And we're seeing it right now. State houses, all these election laws, Georgia being passed, right? The Georgia voters said, we're going to vote for these two senators. So the Georgia House and the governors controlled by people that lost. They said, okay, we're going to change the rules so that that happens again. Right. And it starts a lot at the local level, and that's what's happening here, so that they can maintain power. And it's sad. And like you said, can an average person just get in a race and run? I mean, I will tell you, I consider myself an average person. I raised $27,000, which is not a lot of money, but for a city commission raise, it should be a lot of money. Like, it should have been enough to get the message out there. Not only that, I literally knocked on myself. I didn't keep exact counts, but I think it was about 4,000 doors, like literally out knocking on. And people were home. Like, I've knocked in my other elections before, never this many doors.
COVID.
I never talked to so many people because people were home. I talked to a ton of people this time. And I still came up way short because you're just going to compete with the money, right?
Right.
And all these endorsements. And that's where, the endorsements go towards, again, they hedge their bets. They think they know who's going to win. For the most part, all the endorsements went to, with the exception of Shelley, right? Like all the PACs that endorse. And a lot of these endorsements you see are coming from PACs. They hedge their bets. They want to pick the guy they think is going to win because they figure they're going to tick off the other guy, right?
Right. Yeah. So somebody endorses you because they think you're going to, they pick the front runner, and that way you win, and they can go, hey, we endorsed you. We're responsible. We're partly responsible for you winning.
Yeah.
Can we have your vote? Can we have your?
Look at what happened with the Fire. The Fire.
I thought that was interesting.
The Fire endorsed Ryan and Adam and Tracy. They dumped. I know. I looked at Ryan's campaign. I think at least $4,000 in contributions into his campaign, to his regular campaign. Who knows if they gave to PAC money as well? Because I know they did at least one mailer that doesn't count towards that money. And then, a few days before the election, they voted on a new contract that we will have literally years of financial repercussions from this contract. The firefighters deserve high salaries. They deserve good compensation. They deserve great benefits. They deserve great retirement plans, right? But when you're voting on it, we should know what the costs are going to be, right?
Sure.
There are questions that, Commissioner Casal had asked at that meeting. Those questions still haven't been answered. How can you vote on a contract when the finance department hadn't even looked it over? Right? Hadn't vetted it. We have a new finance director. Well, give him a chance to look at it and then vote on it.
Right. Well, that's a good question. How's that happen?
If it's a perfect contract or not, but it should be vetted properly. And I think that a lot that played into was endorsements and worrying that, hey, we need you to pass this now because we could lose, right? And we hedged a lot of money on you guys.
Right.
I mean, that's just a guess.
Well, I mean, that's frustrating. I mean, and I laugh at like certain people.
Oh, wow. We can show questions on it.
Oh, I love it.
Let me just ask the question. I'm going to put it up there. They didn't share their information. So the question of the day, how do residents, this is so cool. I love this new software. So the question of the day, how do residents who were supporting opposing candidates work now to improve our city? Great. That's a great question, right? Get involved.
That's what I was going to say. Those two words, get involved, go to those meetings, read stuff. Don't read what the candidate read, get informed. It's hard to do, but if you want to do it, you got to do the work. But go ahead. You know better than I do. I just think
what you said is spot on. Start paying attention. There's some really, so that was Matt Mueller, by the way, who asked that question. So
Thanks, Matt.
Get involved. Like there are tons of, first of all, you can get involved on a board. You can put your name in there, but go to meetings, pay attention. There are a ton of Facebook groups that are our Facebook group. We post the agendas, what's going on. Ingrid Lee started another one thing called Delray Matters. It's another group. I think it's really good where she's posting, like she's making videos like about, like she'll pick land development decision. Like recently, you know, the site plan review board voted on a new miniature golf thing coming up.
I saw that.
Tiger Woods is building, and she did like a whole video on it. So you got residents like Ingrid that are not only paying attention, right, but are sharing that. Well, watch what she's saying. Participate. Right. You know, learn from that. Those are things. So Matt, that's what I would say is pay attention, get involved, ask questions. You had an idea. I saw you posted on social media about an idea for Matt did, I should say, on how to pick the next city manager. I'm not going to be the one making that decision, but posting it on social media is great. But have you called and emailed all 5 of the commissioners and told them your suggestion? That's what's important. You've got to put that on the record. You've got to show up at a commission meeting, and now you can even do it from your house on your phone during public comment and say, you've got 3 minutes to say something. Hey, this is my idea. I'd like to be heard, you know? And you will, because they have no choice but to listen to you.
That's what they're paid to do, is listen to you, kind of thing. Yeah, no doubt. No, I mean, it's, you know, I don't know. It's hard to do. It's fascinating. I love doing it. And I don't know why more people don't do it. Like I said, I bet I got 20 phone calls and people just asking me to explain an issue, you know, and, you know, and when I explained an issue, I would tell both sides of the story, you know, and you know, the water, oh my God, we're Flint, Michigan, for God's sakes. And no, we're not Flint, Michigan. And this, that, and the next thing. It's just insane. And we need somebody out. I guess the Facebook page. I hate, you know, I hate counting on Facebook.
Do you think it would be good to show people real quick how to go find out what's going on your
heck yeah,
on social media? I'm going to share my screen again. We're going to try something cool here. I say cool, but I don't know.
Hey, if you don't get involved, you kind of don't have a right to complain.
So this is the website, DelrayBeachFlorida.gov. That's the city website, right? And when you go here, there's different things. First of all, you want to find out about getting involved on a board. Go to government, okay? Boards and committees. And then these are all of our boards. So, and then it will show you vacancies. And this is not always up to date. Like I know right now there's a vacancy on the planning and zoning. What I would say, if you want to be on a board, your application is good for, I think, a year, possibly 2 years, is apply for a board, whether there's a vacancy or not. So you can look through all these boards like affordable housing, code enforcement, right? CRA. These are the big ones, planning and zoning, site plan. You can click on here. Oh, it's going to take us there. And you can see who's on the boards, right? You can see when their terms expire. So as you can see, most of these are all going to be August, either this year or next year. So now would be a good time to get that application in. So some of those are expiring. My understanding is this Alessandro has resigned, so there should be an opening coming soon on this board.
So let me get this. So you look on the boards, you find something that you're interested in, something that kind of fits your passion, what you think is missing in the town. You sign up for, and then you actually have an impact on what's going on. So if you don't like the building, if you don't like this, that, get on the planning and zoning board and actually get your voice heard. Actually have
and the application is so simple. It's right here. You fill this out. Simple. And then you have choices. You can do multiple boards. My first choice, my second choice, right? And then
who makes that decision with the application?
So what happens is when you apply, and I'll show you the lot, because they appointed somebody recently to a board, I believe, at the last meeting. I'll show you how you would see that, but the commissioners nominate somebody, then the entire commission votes on it. Usually they approve with whoever that commissioner nominates, and it's a rotation.
Gotcha.
So all our seats are seats numbers 1 through 5, right? 5 being the mayor. So if the last position on planning and zoning was appointed by seat 3, then seat 4 would appoint the next upcoming appointment.
Gotcha.
And you can ask the clerk who that is. So say there's an opening and you want to be appointed. You can call or email Kateri, who's the city clerk, and say, who has the next education board appointment? Who has the next planning and zoning appointment? She'll tell you. And then you can say, okay, I applied for planning and zoning, and Julie Casal has the next appointment. And you can email or call her and say, hey, I know you got the next appointment. I put an application in. I'd love you to consider me. So they know that you're really interested in it. It's just like if you apply for a job, right? You just put a resume in and forget about it, or do you follow up with somebody there, right? You got a better chance if you follow up. Because sometimes there are not enough people apply for some of these, and sometimes you get 50 people apply. So you kind of never know. So that's the boards. But then how do you want to know what's going on in the meetings? I think the easiest way is if you go to I Want To and then watch. Go to city meetings, and it's going to take you here, and it takes you to this thing called Legistar. And it shows you all the agendas for all the different meetings coming up. And you can look back this month, next month, this year. So these are all the meetings that took place at all the different boards this month. And then there's the video links where you can go watch them. Usually the videos here. Lately, they've been putting stuff on YouTube now as well. So this is on the Legistar where you can watch it here within the software, or you can go to the city's YouTube page and see some of it as well.
So basically, there's no reason to miss a meeting.
There's no reason. It's all here, right?
I work Tuesday nights. I can't go.
Well, this was the organizational meeting the other day, and they did have they probably needed to do a board appointment. So you can click here. You can see the agenda. Let's see if that, okay, perfect. So the agenda pops up, right? And you can see the agenda. And then you can see the individual items. So you want to see like education board, right? You click on here, it will take you to the actual item. And then if you click on Exhibit A, you can see everybody that's applied for that board. So these are everybody who says, I want to be on the education board and what their profession is. And then you can even look at their individual applications. It's all public record. So when you are filling that out, like, just so you know, people put on there like all kinds of stuff. It's all there
for the world to see.
It's all there. Yeah. And even attendance records is important. So sometimes they're looking at reappointing somebody. They want to see, did they really show up to the meetings or not? That's public record as well. That was something when I was on the commission, we added this because we would have a lot of people say, well, you just reappointed this guy that got out of the commission, this board, and then they never show up to the meeting. So we wanted to know, do these people actually show up to the meetings? So you want to see what's going on? Let me go back here. So let's go to next month. And then you can also, these are all the meetings right now that are planned, but you can even just click City Commission. Now, as you can see, the next meeting is coming up on the 6th. There's no agenda yet. Once the agenda is up, it will be right here under meeting details. And then the agenda, you can click there.
That's awesome. So it's never been easier to get involved.
Never been.
So if you're not involved, it just means you don't care enough. Or, you know what I mean? I mean, if you care enough to do something, you do something. If you don't, you don't. And it doesn't matter, but it seems like it's relatively easy. If you've got a computer, you can get involved.
Right. And I know that the meetings, at 4 o'clock meetings, are not convenient for a lot. I personally, one of my things was I wanted to move the meetings back to 6 o'clock. So the meetings are 4 o'clock, not convenient for a lot of people to speak. But right now, they're still virtual.
You watch them the next day.
And first of all, if you're just going to watch the meeting, whether they're 6, 4, 2 in the afternoon, they're streamed. So you can go watch it. It's just like this show. You missed the beginning of this show, no problem. When we end, you can go back and watch the beginning.
Oh, and I could see that happening a lot.
And I can see literally. I think people are just going to go back and keep watching this show so that they can see you and Wayne.
They'll put it on when they're going to bed at night. Something to put them to sleep. Yeah, Delray Politics, no doubt about it. I don't know. Well, it seems like it's easy to get involved, and I'm glad you showed me that.
And we're going to help too. So, like I said, you've got Ingrid doing her stuff. You've got Delray Community Forum that always a lot of people post their opinions on. You've got a lot of these other Facebook groups, and a lot of good information. A lot maybe not so true information gets out there. So that's why I say go to the source.
Right.
Go look. Are they doing this? Go to the city's website. People. I'm gonna go share my screen again because I think we're having fun with this, right?
Hey, how about we take all the crap? You and I take all the crap and we digest it and we get the truth and we meet here once a month and tell people about it.
There you go. Exactly.
Just as some, because I've got nothing better to do on a Sunday morning.
Exactly. But if you go here too, like to the city website, and then people always ask, like, well, what are they building here? What are they building there? This is something really interesting. Go into government and then go to departments, okay? And go to development services. That's our development office, right? And then you can see development applications. All right, there's how to do the applications, but there is a map. Let's see. There, development projects. There is a map. How cool is this? Wait till it comes up. Of all the different projects in town. So everybody goes on social media and they always ask, what's going there? I've seen probably 20 posts about this 7-Eleven. What's going on in the corner of Linton and Military where the Chevron was or the Mobile was, right? How many times have you seen that post on the last
Sure, yeah.
Same post repeated 10 times. It's right here, 7-Eleven. There's not only that, you can see what it's going to look like, right? It's all there.
That's great.
A lot of this stuff's already been built and they still have it up here, but, and they're kind of, it's not always 100% up to date. But like the Palm Tran, it says green, which I'm guessing means it's complete. And that's completed. They just had the ribbon cutting, so I know it's already done. Right, there's warehouses going here. But as you can see, there's a lot going on in this town. Look at that.
Wow. That says a lot right there. That's a T-shirt. Welcome to Delray Beach.
I mean, look at that. Isn't that crazy?
That's insane.
What's on here, everything's pretty much online, and easily accessible. Now, obviously, the bigger, controversial, most of that stuff, we will dissect, in shows like this, and Ingrid will dissect on hers, and you can get this information, but that's the way to get involved. Just pay attention, ask questions, do your own research. Don't just trust my word. Definitely don't trust the bartender's word, right?
Bartenders never lie, Mitchell.
Bartenders never lie.
Bartenders never lie, and they know when to shut up and not talk, and they listen. We listen better than we talk. That's why we do good at our jobs, do well at our jobs. No, I think that's great. I mean, I get involved. I do the Facebook thing. I listen. I talk to people. Obviously, I talk to people at the bar. I talk to people during my day job selling houses, and you listen to people. But, I mean, it's so good you can get the answers because nobody knows 100%. Nobody knows. And to be able to get the answers, I think that's awesome, So go get involved, everybody. Local politics.
And pay attention. Tell your friends about this show. We're going to, be dissecting sometime we'll be announcing our next show in April, probably the middle of April.
Big announcement.
But tell your friends to watch. Share today's, video with your friends. Like us on Facebook. Join our group, Delray Beach Politics Facebook group, where we can. And the goal is, if you start spouting negative nonsense on there, you're gone. You're gonna kick you out. We want positive. And it doesn't mean you have to agree with us.
Right.
Just means don't be nasty.
Right. There's no reason to be nasty. I just don't get the polarization. And like I said, I hate keep going back like this, but that actually swayed my vote this year on the election, because I just the nastiness. I want good people to run our city, and sometimes I watch some of this stuff and I just got the feeling that they weren't as nice as I'd like them to be. Now, granted, maybe that's not a qualification for city commissioner. I don't know. But to me, I want a good person on there that's going to work with other people, that's going to, just listen to people. And so, yeah, no doubt about it.
By the way, so somebody did ask another question. I can't answer this question, so I'm going to pop it up there because
all right,
it's definitely not in my wheelhouse.
That's a great question. That's a great, who's the Facebook user? I think
I don't know, because
anonymous. I like it.
They didn't share their name on the stream yet.
That's a great question. Gins have taken an awesome turn for the good. They're starting to come out with some pretty. They're starting to age gin in wood barrels. They're starting to just to give a different flavor concept. We all had Beefeater. God bless Beefeater, but it had that medicinal taste to it. Nowadays, you can find a profile in gin. It depends what you're going to do with it. Going to put some tonic in it. I like Hendrix. I like the cucumber kind of botanical taste to gin. First of all, gin, just forget about it.
Mark Denkler asking that question.
But and he happens to be a Hendrix drinker. I know that personally. So I do know that personally. But it's never been a better time to be a drinker, because let me tell you, they're starting to come out with some pretty cool things. All alcohol, all whiskeys and bourbons, and they're starting to do some great things with that stuff. And now you go into a bar and you have choices, and you have just like the city commission.
I hear there's a bar opening up in west of Delray, right?
There is. I think I heard the same thing. Yeah.
I hear that bar is going to have over like 1,000 different choices.
Well, there's going to be 1,000 different whiskeys. I think you're talking about Warren, which is going to be I think American Whiskey Kitchen, which is going to be pretty darn awesome. I think they're going to have 1,000 whiskeys, indoor outdoor bar, a whiskey tasting bar, a chef's table, some great food. I'm looking forward to that thing opening, and trying to see if people want to go out west so you don't have to deal with the traffic, and go out west, have yourself a nice dinner and a couple old fashions. That's what I'm excited for.
I have a question. Since there's going to be 1,000 whiskeys, so I remember when World of Beer opened up, they had like an app, or actually had a card at the beginning, right? We get checked off each one of those beers, and then once you got to the 1,000 beers, you got like a cruise. So are they going to let us keep track of all if you want to try eventually all 1,000 of these whiskeys, do they have anything to keep track of that?
No, I think that's an awesome idea. But do know 1,000 beers and 1,000 different whiskeys. I'm afraid if you drink 1,000 different whiskeys, Mitchell, we may have to set you down and do something to rescue you. But That's not a bad idea. We will keep track, or they will keep track of what you're drinking out there. And, we actually have a whiskey sommelier that is going to,
is that John Fitzpatrick?
It's John Fitzpatrick, the world famous, who's got a passion for whiskey, and he's looking forward to, when you have a passion about something, it's awesome to get to show people things that they might not know. From what I heard from talking to him, he's been out there for the last month just tasting a bunch of whiskey, just learning his craft. That poor guy, what a crappy job he has, huh? And he's out there learning.
Ever need an assistant?
Yeah.
I'm literally 10 minutes away.
But yeah, so it's going to be a pretty special place. It's going to be out in West Delray, and I think it'll be worth the drive. And people have to go out there, and they might see me out there roaming around saying hi to people. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Delray's growing. It's a little busy in East Delray, so let's go out west and not worry about the traffic.
Oh yeah, Joe, there is something new coming. I thought that was cool just to mention, and I'm looking forward to it. And I will tell you that it used to be about just going and having a drink, and now with people like John who have really kind of studied the craft, right? You can just learn about why does this whiskey taste different than another whiskey. So we've really gotten off Delray Beach politics, but
I love it. That's probably a good thing.
But what's more politics? I mean, just add a cigar, back room, and a bottle of whiskey, and now that's politics.
And maybe that's a good tie-in, because remember the old days, and to me that is like the election. I watched the debate, or whatever, and whatever happened to getting together, having a cocktail, and and being able to share our thoughts and agreements and disagreements, and still being friends. One of the things, and there are two different things. One of the things that I hated were watching people just get so passionate about their friendships. I watch friendships get ruined, and I just don't think it's worth it. We can disagree and agree to disagree, but then again, I also see, you can kind of go back and forth and kind of beat each other up. You and Lee Cohen, you kind of beat each other up and, say bad things about each other. But you know what? I've served you both cocktails and together, and you're still friends. And we should all be friends. We all have the same goal, hopefully. And that's to make this town, the best town it could be. And I defy anybody to find a better town. People are coming here from all over, and I know that upsets somebody, some people, but there's a reason they're coming here, and they're coming here because it's awesome.
Here's Danny Kent's suggestion, and I disagree with that one.
Oh, Danny, Danny, who is come from England, wants us to ban people from moving to Delray. I understand. I get it. It's hard to share some of these awesome things, but hey, look what's gone on. Back 15 years ago, there were 3 good restaurants on the Avenue. I won't get into who they are. We all know them. Some are still here, some are gone. But nowadays, there's 20 good restaurants in this place. The water has risen. There's great restaurants. Matter of fact, there's hardly any bad restaurants in this town. And that's good. And that's for the people that are moving here. So, and now there's restaurants going out west, and you can still find something. You can still, it just gets better. I mean, I don't know about another miniature golf course, but what the heck, if it gives us something else to do and it doesn't, make the traffic.
We're running out of time, but you brought up something good. That was interesting. So when the social media discussion was on that, when Ingrid had posted about that coming up on the site plan, or it was either SPRAB, I think it was SPRAB, or P&Z, I forget which board it was going to. A lot of the social media discussion was, why would they do that to putting around? That's going to put them out of business, right? Blah, blah, blah. But then when the actual meeting came up, do you know who called in and supported that project?
The people that putt around.
Yep. People putt around. They went and drove up to Fort Pierce at the other location and said, this is nothing like what we have. It's a completely different concept. And it'll probably bring more people to the town, and it's a good thing.
I think I have a unique perspective. I've sat at that corner bar at City Oyster for about 20 years, and I've watched all these amazing restaurants open. And you know what? We're better for it. We're better. We're a better restaurant than we were 15 years ago. And they'll go. they'll go to the new place, but if you do your job right, they're going to come right back. And you know what? They're still coming back. City Oyster is still, consistently the busiest place on the app. And it's because you raise your game. Walk in City Oyster and look at it. And look compared to 15 years ago. It's just amazing. And don't be afraid of competition.
People ask me all the time, like, where's a good place to eat on the avenue? And my thing is, number one, is any place on the avenue that has survived for more than a year or two, they've got to be good. Because there's so much competition. If you have bad service or bad food or both, you're not going to last. There is no way you're going to last because of the competition. So because of that, I would say 95% of the restaurants in downtown have good food and good service.
Right.
Because
without a doubt.
Yeah, you got no choice but to keep their game up.
We are blessed. We are blessed. Now, a lot of people come from the north, New York City, where, there's something for everybody. But they come down here, you know what? There's something for everybody. And funny, if it's not there, give it a year. It's coming. And it's just,
I just noticed there's a new, Mediterranean restaurant opening up.
And it's awesome. And,
it
there's
really
just
good. I want to try it.
Something for everyone. Lionfish is awesome. I work at City Oyster. Lionfish is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Are they as nice as we are? Maybe not, but they're awesome. It's good.
They do have dollar oysters during happy hour. It's hard to compete with that.
Oh, okay. All right. We have $2 oysters, and oysters are expensive, by the way. We fly our oysters down first class. Anyway, the town's only getting better.
We're going to end soon. I'm going to post one more comment. Matt Mueller put, I think we have more in common than we imagine. I think that's a good closing note.
I think Matt is 2-0 today with the questions because he's exactly right. Thanks, Matt, for you'll take my spot here in a month. But we really do. We all want what's best for this town. Now we have different ideas of what it is, and some people, but we all have a lot more in common, and we should bridge our gaps. We should sit down, have a cocktail. I would love to, you, Ryan, Lee, everybody sitting at my bar. I would freaking love that. I'll buy and just talk because we all love our town. We do. We have different philosophies, but not one person on that dais didn't love our town.
I agree.
In that election, not one, because you'd be crazy to do it unless you love that town. It's just, so everybody loves the town, and, and if you don't, you don't, and go move somewhere else. But Matt's exactly right. I completely agree. And let's go have a cocktail, bridge our gaps. And I got to go show houses. So let's get out of here.
So we've done an hour. First of all, thank you all. We had a ton of people that have tuned in. We had a ton of people that had comments, especially shout out to Richard Bay with a ton of really good comments. And a ton, and really he's spot on when it comes to kind of understanding the partisanship that was involved. And I didn't learn how until he stopped posting. I didn't learn how to share this stuff.
The show will get better.
The show will get better as we fine tune this. So tell your friends to go watch us. Join the group, like my page, the Mitch Katz page, so you'll get notified when it's coming live. Tell your friends too that are not on Facebook. It's also being streamed on YouTube. So you can go to the Mitch Katz YouTube page, and it's there as well. So this way they don't have to necessarily be on Facebook. So it's everywhere now. And thank you all. Thanks, Wayne, for kicking off the first new episode.
What a blast I had. I mean, we love the town. Everybody get involved. Please get involved. The more the merrier. Different opinions, different everything. Get involved. It's a great town. Let's keep it. Let's make it better.
Sounds good. Everybody have
an awesome week. Love you guys.